My 2 o'clock dog is here. Her name is Buttons. She is a Poodle Maltese mix. If this is your first time here, I'm a dog groomer and I make dog grooming videos. And here is her bandana from her last grooming, which was probably about 3 months ago. She must really like it. I'm starting off her grooming with shampoo and conditioner, and I am using watermelon scented shampoo. She's been coming here for years, and she usually comes about every 5 to 6 weeks, but her owner had somewhere to go, so she had to reschedule. So she's just coming in after 3 months, which is a really long time for her. As you can see, when I'm blow drying her, you can tell her tail is really matted. I do have a sign at my front desk saying that I don't brush out mats, I cut them out. And that is exactly what I did. I want her to be mostly dry before I start her haircut, or the blade won't go through her hair that well. She usually gets a number 7 blade all over, but since it's getting cold out, I'm doing the number 4 blade, which is a little bit longer. I'm using a number 7 blade at the base of her tail, so that way it stays clean when she goes to the bathroom, and I'm also shaving the inside of her back legs out with the 7 blade too, because as you can imagine, when they pee all over their hair. I'll be the first one to admit I am no dematting expert. My main concern is not causing pain when I brush a dog. So I'm cutting most of her hair off her tail right here. I'm cutting in the middle of the mats. Then I can just pull it apart and brush it out, which, needless to say, she's left with not that much hair left on her tail, but that's okay. Guys, if you want your tails long on your dogs, you have to brush them. Now that I took off most of the mats, I can come back with my slicker brush and brush out the rest. It doesn't leave much hair, but at least it's not shaved totally bald. I'm going to trim her tail up with my chunkers. I'm going through her tail with my comb to check for any tangles, because the comb will find any tangles or mats that are left in it that the brush kind of just glides over. I'm shaving the pads of her feet out because the pads of her feet grow hair, and also between the toes, and they can get very hairy and messy from stepping in mud and tree sap and anything else that's out in the yard. And they will bring it back in your house because everything gets stuck to the hair. I'm shaving her poo-poo area with a 10 blade. She's getting her nails cut while she's here today, which she's very good for. I'm going to go ahead and Dremel her nails also, because these little dogs have little sharp pointy nails, and they will scratch themselves up after they're groomed with their freshly cut nails, and they'll also scratch up their owners too. So I don't do everybody's nails with the Dremel, but little tiny dogs I will. Or old dogs that have thin skin, because they can cut themselves scratching with sharp nails. I'm doing the same length on her head, down the sides of her face, as I did on her body, which is a 4-blade. Her ears are always matted, and they are matted today. And the reason why, not only because nobody's brushing them, with her it's because they don't lay flat, they fold in half. So the backs of her ears always rub on her neck, if that makes sense. They're always matted at the back of her ear. So today, I'm just going to take the back of her ear short. You probably won't even be able to tell that I did it, because if I don't take all this hair off back here, it's just going to end up matted next time. I use my comb to check for any tangles, because the comb will find wherever there are mats. Now this ear is more shaped than the other side. I'm shaving a lot of it out, but they ended up looking pretty good anyway. I combed all her bangs forward and trimming straight across, trimming up her eyes so she can see again. I'm shaving out all this hair from the corners of her eyes. I'm carefully lifting up the hair with my finger so I don't have to scrape her skin with a blade. Removing all this hair in the corners of her eyes because it grows straight up into their eyes. And they can get eye infections with all this hair and the tears running and all the goopy stuff. You want to keep that cleaned out. Her owner likes a shorter face, so I'm trimming it nice and round and short. I'm not sure if you can tell, but the scissors I'm using are slightly curved just to help it be more round. We're almost done here. I'm going to go over her one more time with the 4-blade, make sure that there's no hairs out of place. And here's a helpful little tip. If you guys take your dog to a groomer and you go to pick your dog up early, I always do a once-over, meaning when I'm done, I go over everything one more time real quick to double check everything. If you go and you pick up your dog early and your dog is still on the table, you're not going to get as good of groom as if you had waited for them to call you. Just saying. A lot of times when people come in early, I have to put the dog away and they won't calm down, so they're pretty much going home with a less than perfect haircut. I hope that makes sense. Or if you're out there killing time just waiting for your dog to be groomed and you pull up in the parking lot and it's not quite time yet, just give them a call. I mean, I don't mind if people call me from the parking lot and say, is my dog ready? I didn't want to walk in and interrupt. I mean, that we appreciate that. I'm wiping the corners of her eyes out with a little bit of water. Make sure her eyes are nice and clean. Look at her tail. You know she knows she's ready to go. I made a bunch of Halloween bandanas last night. Well, this has bikers on one side, but we're not using that side. She is getting Halloween witches, and it's a slip over the collar bandana. And she looks pretty excited about it.